Hey guys, this is Dee. So this video is all about victimhood and victimization and living in a constant state of being that and embodying being a victim, living your life on those terms, building relationships based upon that, connecting with people based on victimhood, and these sorts of things. I heard a phrase today that started this off that got me thinking and made me make this video. And it was that children that have been burned grow up to enjoy fire. Okay? Now you can interpret this a few ways. I interpret it in one way as children who have been mistreated and abused, or who have been hurt as children, grow up as victims and feel that they deserve it. They deserve to be mistreated. They deserve to be abused. And that leads into whether or not they choose abusive relationships, abusive partners, and relationships and friendships and all these sorts of things. Now, children who have been abused, and anyone who's been abused or has suffered a crisis or a trauma at any point in their life, of course, there's going to be a time of reconciliation and a point where they need to overcome this and step out of that identity into a new one. And usually they have found their way to counseling at some point, or therapy, or another life experience has stepped in and broken the cycle. And that is what happens, and that's what gets them out of it, okay? But at some point, there are individuals that wallow in it, that live by it. They have embodied it. They identify themselves by the victimhood mentality. They identify themselves by the abuse or the trauma they have experienced, and they make decisions based upon it. All they do is talk about it. They can't form relationships without everybody agreeing upon the consequences of these things that have happened to them. And what you put out into this world truly is what you're going to get back, okay? So if all you're expressing, if all you're putting out there and sharing is negative, what happened to me, poor me, it's so sad, this is awful, this is what happened to me 20 years ago or 5 years ago or whatever, that is what you're going to get back. You're either going to get back pity, you're going to get back empathy, you're going to get back sadness, but you're not going to get back a lot of positive vibes from that message, okay? Not to say that trauma doesn't stay with you forever. It does. But you have to learn to manage that trauma and be able to flip it around into something that you have learned from and a positive quality that you can utilize in your personal character to strengthen you, to make you an advocate, to make you a better you, and strengthen your resolve to never, ever let anything like that happen to you or anyone you love again. And you have that power in you. You have all the power. You have everything you need inside you, okay? Counting on the world to bring you a better life is like dialing up a tarot card reader and hoping they're gonna make good wishes for you and like they're gonna show up at your doorstep, okay? So what you need to do is, and I know this gets to a little of the woo-woo stuff that I always say I'm not on board with. I am on board to some degree because there's physics and quantum physics behind some of this manifestation stuff, and things to do with neurons. And for instance, neurons that fire together will, what's the phrase? Neurons that fire together, I forget. Anyways, it's the point that they, if you create positive associations in your brain, they'll stick together and they'll continue to associate, okay? But you have to create those neuron associations. You have to create, when you think of that negative thing that's happened in your past that's caused you trauma or pain, you have to associate that with something great that you learned from it, or something great that's come out of it, and that's changed you in the positive, that's given you something that you can offer the world that's better, or that you can do for yourself that you couldn't do before. Okay. And that way you have created a neuron association. And whenever that bad things come up, all of a sudden that bad thought comes up, or a feeling or a reminder or a scent or a cue or whatever the cue is that makes you think of that negative experience, right away, that neuron is going to join its partner, its positive partner, and that positivity is going to come out also, okay? And you are in charge of this. So if you don't take control and step out of victimhood at some point, it's not that somebody else's fault anymore that you're a victim. It becomes your fault because you can make that decision. Now, you can't do it alone sometimes. Sometimes you need therapy, you need help, but you have to make the decision to reach out and get that help. And you have to be the one to do that. And doing it alone, maybe that's the way for you. But doing it with a partner, with a therapist, with a professional, that's usually the way for most people. But you can only blame the offender for as long as you don't know any better. Once you know better and you know that you're in charge of your own future, of your own emotions, of your own being, and what you get out of this life and what you put into it, now you're in charge. And now you can either choose to sit in the pool of hurt and victimhood, or you can step out of the dirty water, dry yourself off, and start fresh. And this is based on physics, because this is how you can use physics to build new neural pathways, to use that neuroplasticity, to make neurons connect to each other and associate with each other that didn't previously, that will take you from a negative to a positive mindset, from a negative outlook to a positive outlook, and to take you from negative outcomes to positive outcomes, because whatever you give, you're going to get back. And whatever energy you rest in and you like remunerate with in your brain is the energy that is going to become your existence and your reality. So you are truly controlling your own reality, and it's up to you. So a lot of these ongoing therapies and counseling where you just sit in it and regurgitate and go over and over and over awful situations from like 25 years ago, from when you were a child, I think that's great until you've come to the conclusion that now it's your choice. Once you've come to the conclusion that now this is up to you, I don't think that's helpful anymore. Maybe therapy is still helpful, but not that kind of therapy. Okay? Going over the same negative things over and over again isn't going to help you step out of the dirty water, dry off, and start fresh with a clean pair of clothes. You need to, at some point, leave it behind you. And I know people who have been through the most horrific trauma you can experience. And I'm thinking of one gal in particular, and I have never seen an example of this in my life, like someone who has stepped out of the dirty pool. And like, she is the most positive girl I've ever seen, and she makes what she wants happen in her world, and she does it with intention, and she does it full knowing what's happened to her in her life, but she associates it with what she got out of it. That's positive, and everybody can do that. And I just want to end it with that. I want to leave it with that. If she can do it, anybody can do it. She doesn't have any supernatural power that everybody doesn't have. She just has a knowingness and a willingness and an open heart and an open mind, and she's willing to shed the scales of her past and create a new future for herself from within and from her mindset and from what physics tells us we can do. And if it's manifestation, call it whatever you like. It is what it is, and it works. So get on the horse, everybody. Let's leave our traumas, leave our hurt behind us, and start anew and start fresh and start doing the work. We have to do the work. All right. And there's so many videos on what the work is. I'm not even going to get into it, but if she can do it and millions of people all over the world can do it, then we can all do it. So let's do it together. See you soon, guys.